Well, it's a good morning in the UK, and it's a good evening for all those people in Brisbane, which has been raining since this afternoon, about 3 o'clock. Mind you, it's a pleasant surprise for the people in the UK to get some sunshine. So, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Andrina.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Dreaming the New Dream, wherever you are in the world, or if you're listening to a replay, welcome. And today it's our great pleasure to have Dr. Alex Ling on the show. Now, welcome, Alex. It's lovely to see you again, and thank you I know you're busy, so welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, and good morning, and hello to everybody. So yeah, I was looking forward to this one.
Well, I was just saying to Jeff, it was the 7th of March when you came on the show, which is literally 2 months ago. And gosh, you've been here, you've been there, you've been everywhere. You've been on this show, you've been on that show. And I've seen you in Glastonbury. We've been in the cafe, we've had coffee. I've seen you in Aqua. I've been on the tour humming. And so you've been quite a busy bee since, it's fantastic because obviously you're getting the word out there all about Aquan and the humming, and also the magical work that you've been doing. So I know you're a fully trained doctor and you're on the holistic path. And we talked quite a bit about all of that on the first show, but I know you're going to share all about your journey to Mexico with Sasha Stone, and really looking forward to hearing all about that. So where would you like to start this morning?
Oh, so many things happened, as you pointed out. I mean, it's been absolutely incredible the last 2 months, being so busy, but it's all amazing how many beautiful events we have been experiencing on our journey, and the synchronicity to meet these very like-minded people who helped us on our journey and with our journey. So it was amazing. Yes. So where to start? I think Mexico would be a good start, because that was really why we went over to Mexico in the first place. Is the eclipse, of course, which occurred on the 8th of the 4th. The event of the eclipse was quite mind-blowing. We didn't know really what to expect, except that we would know that we did know that it was quite an unusual eclipse because of the geometry and of the history of it, and the link to the Turkish and Sumerian history as well. So there were a lot of aspects which made this eclipse, the solar eclipse, quite different. And when we arrived actually in Mexico, so that's our team. I sent you a picture as well. So from our team, which we had, so it was Ian, Winston, Joel, and some other people who, like our very smart Ricardo, our scientist, and so we had a good team with us. And we, when we arrived actually in the desert, and these are some pictures from the desert, we didn't know what to expect at all. So when we went to the zone of silence, and that's where we just arrived here on this picture, you can see the sign behind us. We actually were really surprised, because we wanted to go to a mountain which is about 1,440 meters high, which is quite a magical number in itself. And we learned very quickly, as soon as we entered the zone, that there was very heavy military and police presence. And so we got stopped straight away. And the whole area which we wanted to enter was sealed off.
There's a surprise.
Yes. So that was the first little hurdle we had. And so we tried really everything to persuade the police people and try to reason that we came for research and all these kind of things, but they were not having any of it. So it was very strict. And I said that the new owner of the mountain, which we wanted to climb, we didn't know it was privately owned. He stopped basically everybody coming into the area, except some people who had been invited to come along. So that was quite interesting. So we thought, okay, we're not going to be put off. So we contacted Sasha, and then we had a plan B. And the plan B was to come from the backside of the desert, in an area. The area was known anyway for UFO activity, and it's quite an unusual and very strange area because it is like an ancient seabed, which is about 200 million years old. So that's why we had this enormous, this huge amounts of sand and dunes in the area. So when we arrived, it was literally like you would be on a seafloor. It was just beautiful. This sand was so fine and so incredible, and it built like this really beautiful contrast to the sky. So we managed to get there, and we actually lost the car on the way into the dunes because the sand was so deep. You needed a really serious 4x4 to make the trip. So we all got squashed into one big truck with 9 people in a double cab. So we were all sitting on top of each other. And Sasha was in the front. He was filming. He thought it was really amusing. And so then we arrived in the middle of this ocean bed, and there was already, that's the entrance from the side where we came from. So there's all these pictures and signs about extraterrestrials. And so it's a little bit like Roswell, like a Mexican Roswell. So, and when we arrived, we saw, that's our team. That's when we arrived previously at the airport. So this guy in the middle, I just have to point this out because that's quite a beautiful story about synchronicity. So the Mexican guy with his wife, who's to his left, his name is Nestor, and his wife is called Brenda. And when we arrived at the airport in New Mexico, we had to take another flight. Mexico City. Then we had to take another flight to Torreon. And we had actually one day where we didn't have any hotel. We just realized that we had this kind of gap where we didn't know where to stay. And because of the eclipse, it was pretty much impossible to find anywhere. There were loads and loads of people in the area. So, and on the shuttle, on the bus to the next plane, we were just talking about it. And some young people said, oh, you can stay with us because we have a big house. They came from America. And then Nestor turned around to us and he just looked at us and he said very seriously, he said, no, you come with me. And then we didn't know him at all. And we just felt like, okay, we just come. And then we collected our baggage and all this luggage. And so we thought, really, like it is very often, maybe he just said it and he disappeared. And there he was outside standing with his wife waiting for us and saying, okay, follow me. And then he took us to his parents' house, who went away for holiday. And we just got the keys and he said, there you go, there's your house. Do what you want. This is your home. And so it was, and that is one of the first experience we had with Mexican people, and it just kept coming. The Mexican people are the most incredible, kind, giving, genuine people we ever met. It was just amazing. They were so caring and so beautiful. It was amazing. So yes, so that was our first kind of experience in Mexico, which took us a little bit, not by surprise, but it was a lovely experience. And anyway, so then we ended up in the zone of silence, so where we experienced the eclipse. So this one is in a different place. These are all different places. But if you go into the zone of silence, and then afterwards we are in the ocean bed, in the ancient ocean bed with all the sand and the dunes. And that's where we were waiting. Basically, we did like a little ceremony between all of us. There were shamans there. There were indigenous people who were connected to our group, and it was just the most incredible mix of people, energetically incredible and amazing stuff happened. So we did a opening ceremony with all of us together. That's part of the people who were there. That's on the right side, well, in the middle, that's in white. That's Sasha Stone holding a camera. And on the right side to him, there's Ricardo and Eduardo. So they are Mexican people. They're very switched on and very kind of spiritual. And myself. And that's the area behind us. So you can just get a feeling about it goes like for miles and miles and miles. I mean, it's such a huge area, which is just dunes and sand, and it's incredible. You can feel that there was ocean before because it just is in the ground, in the sand, the memory of the water. Yeah, it's just something which I will never forget. Absolutely energetically so charged up. And this, Yvonne is a shaman, but also she is a medium, and she is connected to the Pleiades, and she's communicating with extraterrestrials. I mean, she is just wow. We got on like a house on fire. And I had a show previously, and that's her husband on the other side, Eduardo, who is a shaman, and he's absolutely incredible. His knowledge about nature is mind blowing. So and we got on like a house on fire immediately. I've had a show with them together, and Sasha previously to that, a few weeks before that, and she said to me, she turned around when I was actually physically meeting her the first time, and she said, the masters have told me that we are going to work together, and and she said, you will come to my house after this is all happened, and then you stay. And that's what they told me. You come and you stay. And so that's what we did anyway. So after the whole event, we went over to see them, and we stayed with them for over a week. So, and they're the most amazing and genuine people, so loving, such beautiful souls. So yeah, that's the area behind me again, or behind us. And that is actually, that's Eduardo again. He is, as I said, he's a shaman, so he's connected to a tribe, and he was wearing his headgear. So that was the moment of the totality when we literally just started the hum. So the first moment when I closed my eyes and took my first breath to do the first hum. It was amazing. There is also a video. I don't know if you can play it here, but the video is actually showing. Yeah, I think that's the one. If you tap on it, hopefully, and the sound should give you. So when we started to, is that the one? Might be the next one. Yeah. There is a sound of an eagle, which happened just in the moment when we started humming. And we recorded it. It's on the video. But there was no physical eagle above us or around us at all. It was just the sound. And we all kind of wondered where that was coming from. And then Eduardo said, oh, is the eagle meets the condor, which is like this. Yes. And it kept going and going, so on like this. And there was like just one event after another. But in that video, you see how the light is changing, and it was quite dark when the eclipse happened. And there was another thing which happened 3 days before that. The weather, which everybody, Nestor, all the local people which we met and spoken to, they said there are never, ever, ever any clouds in the sky in that area because it hasn't rained for 1.5 years in the area. So, and there was a band of clouds, and I think I sent an image about it, where we took a satellite shot, and we kept taking different satellite shots like almost every 2-3 hours to see if there's any change. And it was like someone painted like with gray paint, this cloud formation exactly over the path where the total eclipse is going to happen. It was unreal. For 3 days beforehand, that's what happened. So the whole sky was clouded up in our area. And so when we started to do the ceremony, it slightly changed. And then when we started the hum, it just kind of completely broken open, and the clouds kind of went into little tiny tiny specks of clouds, and the light changed, and the solar eclipse came through, and you could see the whole thing. It was just like magic. And that was something which because we had about 3 million people who joined in with the hum, and that was something which everybody was kind of experiencing around the world, depending, some were not, of course, in the path of the totality or in the path of the solar eclipse at all, like in the UK. But people noticed that here. Vivian, when she did the hum in Glastonbury, they noticed that too, because the weather was really bad. It was raining. And then when I started the hum and I finished, the sky kind of, she sent me some pictures, and the sky changed, it stopped raining. And that was something which people in Europe noticed a lot, and they sent us a lot of. Yeah, this is an interesting one, because this actually is a water sample which we have taken into the desert, where we have witnessed the eclipse. So we took a tiny bottle of water with us to be blueprinted by the event. And water, of course, as it has consciousness, is very intelligent. And so it recorded the event of the eclipse. And you can see that because the darkness in the center is like dunes. And it was when the shadow came into the dunes. And that's exactly what it looked like. The color is right and everything. And then we have this big winged kind of, in this rainbow colors, like a bird spreading the wing out. And that's the eagle which the spiritual eagle which kind of flew over heads, and we recorded the sound. So that is the memory of the water. So what we did is we took the water, and we have a specific way of photographing it. That's due to Ricardo, our scientist. And he has special lenses he was going to use in a special way of photographing it. There's a special camera and all this kind of thing. And so it's frozen water, like Dr. Emoto, but because of the color spectrum, you get just more information. And so that's the outcome, which is one of the beautiful images. We have taken about I would say probably about 200 different water samples from all the areas where we went, and we had a lot of these kind of images which were mind-blowing. Some of the water which we have been communicating with are from the lagoons, and the lagoons in the area are very, very important. So the lagoons are connected to the Laguneros and to the Eretillas. The Eretillas are an extinct group of ancient. It's an ancient tribe of Indians, and so they're of course they're not there anymore, but they are the descendants are still alive, which are around Mapimi, and that's after the eclipse. That was the next kind of stop where we went to. We went into the Biosphere Reserve in Mapimi, and that's also like a reservation to the people who live there, which are the descendants of the Eretillas or the Laguneros. So that was a real honor, because that was the area we tried to get into to go to the mountain, and we couldn't because the military was sealing it off. But the day after the eclipse, they moved out, and we had access to the area. So we went to see them, and it was difficult to communicate, because their Spanish is different to other regions, because they're different type of people. They have a different accent, and so it's like an older version of Spanish. But so they were very welcoming. And so because we had something in common, we did, of course, the aquan and the water research, and we are understanding how important water is, and how to communicate on a spiritual level with water. So we had something in common, and that was like a door opener. And so they were welcoming us into their homes and into their family, and they told us how they communicate with water. They showed us some of the water sources which they have, which is a well. And we went down this well, which was quite difficult. It was like a really old, rusty ladder, so which was very narrow. So I tried to get down, and I kind of got stuck because it had like a kink, and I just couldn't. I have not the longest arms, and I couldn't reach it to get to the water. And then Joelle, she's like a female Indiana Jones, so she just like, I do it, so, and she just went down and she just did it. She almost plunged into the water in the well, but she got some water. And then we analyzed the water as well, and it was beautiful. Absolutely. The water, I never tasted water like this in my life. It is like water plasma. The purity is incredible, and it comes from the old water tables, and it is from the lagoons, which are still underneath the surface. And it's just, wow, it's incredible structure. And they don't even filter. They don't do nothing. It's just coming through these old pipes, and it's being used. But yes, it was. There are some images of the water which we photographed as well. But yes, it was a mind-blowing experience, especially with the ancient descendants of the Eritreans. That was a very, very special event. So we're going to go back to the area on the 5th of July because June, sorry, because we have been invited to the laboratory, which is inside the biosphere reserve, and it's very close to that specific mountain, which is now privately owned. And because there are some tunnels, and we would like to investigate that, and the tunnel also leads to a hot spring, which seems to have some healing properties and very well known to the indigenous people around there, but very, very, very protected. There's a hacienda which is privately owned, very close to the entrance of the tunnel. And the guy who owns it had like a deal with the government so that he was planning to get a lot of tourists into the area. But soon as this American guy was purchasing the mountain, the whole project was stopped, and he had been asked to stop promoting it as a tourist center. So it had been shut down. So that's what we know something is going on there, and we have a very good idea what it is, because a lot of people had not just UFO experiences in the area, but also they have seen a lot of extraterrestrials within the area. And so, yeah, there are a lot of witness statements about this. There's also a government building in the area, which is also a little bit has a question mark over it. What is it for? In the middle of the desert. So we will investigate very carefully and very respectful. So we don't want to cause any trouble. But the tunnels are accessible, so I've been told. And one of the indigenous people, they're going to show us how to get there.
That's going to be really interesting, eh?
Yes, that's going to be quite a special one. But we're also interested, of course, in the water which comes out of the mountain, and to see what it's like, because the whole area of the mountain, and that's why it's so different to any other areas, is of course a huge electromagnetic field, and your compass keeps just spinning. So, and where we were, the field was not as strong, but quite noticeable. You were quite you had endless energy. It was just like you didn't get tired. Even so, the heat was quite fierce already in that time when we were there. And in the night, of course, the temperature dropped to like 5 degrees. It was really cold. But of the day, we had really a lot of energy, and there was no Wi-Fi. There's no phone signals. I mean, it is a different way of existence there. They have only a landline inside the reservation, and that's what all the families are using. So it is really they live off the land. use also, they haven't got access to doctors or something, so they're using herbalism. And this has been passed on from, generation to generation, all the knowledge about this. They're producing their own flour, they're making their own bread. I mean, it's just, it's incredible. And the food that we have tasted there is just a completely different experience. And you don't have this kind of wasteful attitude we have, unfortunately, in the Western world, so everything has been used fully to kind of, but without any waste. So it's just, everything has its place. And water, of course, is very valuable because, as I mentioned, it hasn't rained for 1.5 years, and the water tables are still giving, but at some point there will be, and that is one of the biggest problems in the area. There is that there are also giant turtles. Apimi is known for the area, so they're massive turtles, and they're protected, of course. But there is a danger because the water is so low now that they don't find any water sources, which causes a problem for them too. And one of the main reasons that the water sources are drying up is that there is a lot of corruption, unfortunately, in the area or in Mexico in general. And there is the farming industry, which is like a new, fairly new venture, and gives, of course, some jobs and some money. However, it brings a lot of negativity to the water tables and to the indigenous people who are around there and trying to protect the water and the turtles, because they are literally drying up all the water resources by using these sacred waters to water the cattle and use it for the alfalfa production, which they need to feed the cattle. So they're using about 10 liters of pure water for 1 liter of milk. And that is a big problem. So there's a lot of anger growing, and so there is a way of stopping it, and we have talked to the indigenous people, but they don't have the means to make it public because they're just not connected to this kind of networks we are. And so we promised that we would step in and would try and would like to help, to support in any way we can. And so we're going to donate my talks, which I usually don't charge anyway. And if there's any charges, donations to some groups who need the money. But we decided to use that money to fund these people, to raise the awareness, to create something where we can just try and stop this. I also put some of my personal money towards it to buy some of the land which is around the lagoons, to try and stop and push the agricultural the movement back a little bit. So just to buy some time, if that is possible. So we're trying all sorts of different things. We're going to go back in June and make a solid plan how we can do this, how it's going to look. So we also going to plan that we're not trying to get too many tourists into that area. That would accumulate some money, but it comes with a lot of negatives as well. So because it is an area which is like a gem, and we don't want to invade their lifestyle. They are, however, open to have maybe very, very small groups coming over and taking part in that experience. And I'm saying like maybe 5 people at the time, to be invited into the life of these beautiful people, and to learn a little bit about it and learn how to communicate with water. So, and that money will fully go to these kind of to this project, because the turtles are really going down in numbers. And once the turtles are gone, there's this kind of sacred link between the Laguneros and the turtles, of course. That would be the end of their existence too. So we want to really do something here. besides the fact that these waters should be protected because they are one of the oldest waters on this planet. There are only 2 lagoons in Mexico who have this incredible water, which is Bacala, which is quite well known because of its purity and beautiful beaches and everything. And then there's this area which is on the other side of Mapimi. And these waters are equally important. They're maybe not so well known because, as I said, there is not that much tourism there, and that's why it doesn't get the attention it needs. But both water sources are very, very important to preserve also this blueprint to this planet. These waters are one of the first waters who arrived. There's a whole story connected, which the Laguneros told us is like the water of the world, one of the first waters which came here. And it's just really important that we keep this alive for this planet mainly, if not anything else. So,
Wow.
Hey, Alex, are they freshwater turtles?
there are some too, yes, but many of them are land turtles as well. So they are all around Mapimi. They're massive. They're big turtles. But many of them are also water turtles. I think I've sent one of the pictures from some water turtles as well.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't notice any.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, I'm sorry. I must have.
No. I'm not sure
Yes.
if Jeff has got any there, but
Yes.
yeah, because I know when I went to Hawaii years ago, and we were on a beach, and that was protected, and you weren't meant to go anywhere near the turtles, but it wasn't, but the turtles would quite happily come up to you, but they were massive. It was like, and I know I can't remember which beach it was now, but it was full of turtles, and you got in the water and it was literally like I had an escort. I had one this side and one that side, and I'm going along sort of looking at that one and this one, and it was just the most amazing experience to be around a turtle. It really was.
Oh, I love turtles anyway, because my father, when I was very small, he brought some turtles. I think it was from Greece or somewhere. He rescued a turtle, and that turtle was also a very large turtle. And I called her Daisy. I don't know why, but so she was massive, and she was very slow and very kind of. So yeah, we had her for quite a number of years, and we had another smaller land turtle, which we put to her for companionship. And the little one died, unfortunately, first because he was just an ordinary land turtle. But she could have made it many, many more years. But she died of broken heart because her little friend was so one season, because we had them in the garden. So people came actually to our house to study them, because we just let them do what they needed to do. So they would kind of bury themselves, into the ground of the winter, and then come out after hibernation, and then there would be this big clumps of earth, sitting in the garden, and we knew they would come out, and then we washed them and got them all ready, for the next summer. So it was a beautiful experience, and for us kids as well, because we learned a lot about turtles, and my connection to turtles is coming from that point, which is I just love turtles. And so we have seen there's a lot of very interesting things in the desert anyway. So people say always, oh, there's just desert, but it's not just desert. It's
alive.
Oh my God, the flowers and the cacti, and I mean the color spectrums which we have seen because of this magnetic field. All the plants are much bigger, much more vibrant. It really has an effect, and that's why they study it there as well. Has an effect on everything, and down to the insects and birds. I mean, the birds we have seen. I mean, I've never seen birds in those colors. I just like, wow. And the butterflies, they were massive. They were like birds themselves. So it was just amazing. And the night sky. And I mean, this is really for the people who come with us on those private tours. So they will be not disappointed. It's something, you just in nature pure. And if you are not a person who needs any kind of devices, or I mean, it's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure.
No.
It is a tough terrain. It's not just the heat, but you have to do a lot of walking, and it's just a different form of existence. So we didn't had a luxury shower or anything. We had like a little canister of water, and we were kind of pouring it over us. So I mean, there are showers, but there's not much water around. So, you have to go to the tub, get your water, and wash yourself. So but it all worked out. I mean, so you just adjust to it. And we camped out there. Two possibilities. One is to camp outside, and we did that for the first couple of nights. And then they said, oh, you can have one of the huts. And the huts are very simple, very rustic, but they were clean. There's clean bedding. The beds are shared in this house. Usually between 3 and 5 people can sleep together in these buildings. And there was even a toilet in one of them, which is like, what they expected. And because they usually have outdoor toilets, which are compost, kind of toilets, and with sawdust, and they're very well done. I mean, it's you just get used to it. And so yes, but the benefit to be in nature with all the technology we have, and just to experience that silence, in the night, and that's, I mean, the stars in the night, the sky is just wow! It's incredible. And there also is because of the electromagnetic field, you have this enormous show almost every night of comets. So there's a lot of comets going, the asteroids, So I mean, you can see, but there's a lot of them who crash to the ground in that area, very tiny, small ones. So when you take a magnet, for example, and you go through the sand, all these tiny residues are sticking to your magnet. That's how so many have been coming down in that area, and had an impact, on the whole area as well. So we have a lot of we had like a magnetic what's it called, like a meter with us, and the energy is just like through the roof.
Off the chart.
Yes, yeah, really is. And it has an impact on your health, because for example, I had a bit of a knee issue, before I left, and my meniscus was playing up a bit. So and over there was nothing. All the pain just totally disappeared. You feel really well and really kind of switched on in many ways. So it's a really incredible experience.
So, Alex, you actually flew in from the UK, from Heathrow, yeah?
Yes, yeah, we did. The flight took about 11 hours. It was a really good flight. I'm totally phobic with flying, so but someone came to my talk and actually talked to me about it, and then I just remembered, and I kind of followed this advice, and I felt a lot better. So I flew over with Ian Winston. So he was next to me, and so it was good. It was. I just tried to put everything out of my head and thought, I'm here. The universe put me here, so I need to trust. And and then it was all good, So yes, it was very pleasant. 11
so you
hours.
flew. I'll just get this right.
Yeah.
For the people who are watching. So you flew from Heathrow to Mexico City, but I thought I heard you at the beginning that you went into America and then you came across.
Oh, no, not to America. No.
Oh.
It was to Mexico City. I think I made a mistake when I said New Mexico. No. It was Mexico City. And from Mexico City, then you have to take a short flight to Torreon. And when you go to Torreon, from there, it's about 2 hours drive, let's say 2.5 hours, to the biosphere, to the zone of silence. So whoever's going to come with us, we had already some inquiries, but we and I do apologize that we can't take many people with us, and it will be we will try to take the people, and we're not kind of being awkward or anything, but we have to try and keep the people with us who are we think are the most respectful to come along. We just don't want to cause any problems. So
no, well, that makes total sense. It's respecting the ancients, isn't it, really?
absolutely, exactly. So this is not like an ordinary holiday. That's not what we do. So this is like educating, and this is like being part of something which exists for a very long time. We're not trying to change anything. We are just trying to absorb their knowledge and give something back in return to help with the preservation of the water and the turtles.
So I bet when you first booked this trip, you'd never had any idea that you'd be going back in June.
No, never, because we thought it's just like a one-off trip, and so we thought, yeah, we go there, have the eclipse, and all of this done, and then we return. But it ended up completely different. So the universe, of course, had a lot of different plans for us, and so when we were in the biosphere reservation, or the reserve, we met a lot of people who we deeply connected to. That was totally unexpected. We didn't thought that we would be invited to such extent that they call us basically family. So that was very moving, and we really love the area. It's just something which sticks with you, and the people, of course. And so afterwards we went to San Miguel de Allende, which is an absolute gem. And so that's about 8 hours away. So we will give the choice to people either to just do the Mapimi trip and then they can go home, or they can come to another part, which is a slightly more connected part in terms of there's electricity and there's luxury if you want it. And that is to go and visit all the hot springs, which are around San Miguel. And that is a real experience. It's really amazing how many hot springs there are. And the waters are fantastic. But also San Miguel is known to many people as a very, very spiritual town. There's said that there is a huge plateau of rose quartz underneath the city, and there's a cathedral. So there's a lot of things to see. And energetically, I never met so many switched on people in one town.
Really?
It's like Glastonbury being amplified, So it's honestly, it's incredible. There's a whole square where there's all these beautiful little shops, and it's all organic. It's all kind of, yes, all alternative medicines. And I mean, it's just really quite common in the town. So there's so much of it. And there's a lot of people coming from all over the world to visit San Miguel de Allende, which is known for this kind of energy. And so, yeah, it's really amazing. And the food, because it's a food capital of Mexico, and I can only say, once you have tasted that kind of food, it's very difficult to go back in your standards, because it's so fresh and it's so amazing. We have eaten the most amazing food, just even from there's this huge market twice a week, which is the size of, I think, 6 football fields. And you get the most incredible street food on this market. And it was just mind blowing. So all you need is a little money in your pocket, and you're done for the day. You can eat so fresh, and everything is prepared just there in front of you, and it's just amazing. So yeah, we had everything happen which happened to us. We met so many incredible people on this journey who are switched on, and we have made so many new friends on this journey who will also support and help us to spread the word about Aquan. And we already decided that we would like to have a water bar in San Miguel, which would be a perfect place.
Really?
Yeah, so they said, this is the place, you need to do this here.
Yeah.
But we are busy at the moment in Glastonbury because we are actually expanding our small water bar. We have just rented another shop which is just opposite, so the two go together very well.
In
So
the Gauntlet, if people haven't been to the Gauntlet, they'll just go in and find you on the left-hand side.
that's
And
right.
if they
Yes.
come in from the other, if they come in from the other side, then they'll see the water bar first, won't they?
Yes, that's right. So we have the old Indian takeaway, which is the slightly larger place, and then the place in the opposite. So we're gonna have the water bar on one side, and then we're going to do proper ramen, which is something which I always thought is missing in Glastonbury. Some ramen, some Japanese food, which is very fresh with some microgreen salads. So it's gonna be really good. So we have now the
Some
space.
nice green tea.
Yes, some nice, beautiful green teas, and so it's just going to be a nice place to just chill out, to hang out with other people, have chats. There's also going to be possibilities to charge up your phones and just kind of, maybe do some work you need to do there. So it's just like a really chilled out area where you can have some good food as well. So yeah,
Fantastic. Look forward to seeing that, because that's going to be open in a couple of weeks, isn't it? Have you got a date-ish?
Well, with a new place, now we had to put it back slightly because the new place is there was nothing in that place we could use, so we had to strip literally everything down to the bare walls and start again. So we've taken all the floors up and everything, and we're gonna create it all brand new because the smell was that pleasant in there, so it kind of stuck to everything. So
and this is for, if you go back up, Jeff, go that one there. So that's coming in from St John's car park end.
Yeah.
And so you've got both premises either side there.
That's right. Yes. So they're basically connected. We're gonna have outside seating as well. People can sit inside and enjoy their meal and their water. So yes. So which is it's a slightly larger project. So we need probably another week to get it all ready. But we have people working in there and they're doing their very best to get it done so quickly as possible. And yes, so it's all happening, and that needs to happen before I leave to Mexico, because when we leave to Mexico, I'm going to spend time there to do water research. We're going with the same team over, and we have a lot to do. So people asked us also in Mexico to write some form of report and give us give the images of the water we photographing, so that they can show this to the tourists. So we're traveling around and doing this, starting to do this for different areas which are connected to waters, to hot springs, just to kind of have something which they can show and it's really beautiful to see that as well, and that kind of communication between the water and us. So
are you going to be doing much like working with the stones, doing the sound frequencies and get megalithic sounds while you're there?
Well, the strange thing is we haven't seen, except the pyramids. We went to one pyramid and we have done some work there as well, but the most of the pyramids are not in that specific areas. And if they are, because I think there was one picture I sent of a pyramid which was under the sun, and most of them are not excavated. So they're just kind of completely overgrown, and people know about it, but it's because it's not really such a tourist kind of overloaded area. So you go and see different things. You come there for different reasons, but they're not excavated. So there was only one which was not the oldest one. So it's only from around, I think it was about 1500 years old or so, which is old, but not as old as the others, of course. And that was quite a nice pyramid. So, but all the ones, even the newer ones, they had water involved, and that was very clear on all the photographs I've been taken. There's like these courtyards which are in front of the pyramids, and they were flooded with water. There's also like drainage for it, usually in one corner, where the water will be let out after the ceremony. And the indigenous people we've spoken to explained that to us, and they said, "Oh yeah, this is like the mirror between the earth and the sky." So by flooding the courtyards of the pyramids, you will have this as a big mirror. So then you would you create your ceremonies, and you will be in between space, and the water is a medium for that. So, and it made complete sense. And they're chanting usually to water, so it's like an old form of sematics, and I'm talking about this on my talk as well. So how their sounds are affecting the water immediately, and especially when they hum also very often. So that's something I learned as well. So the humming was one of the tools they used. And so it would have an immediate effect on the water, would spread out and create patterns. And yeah, so just amazing. And there are different songs which are connected to different periods of the year, different seasons and different times when there's a different moon cycle. So they have all these different kind of songs and melodies which have an impact on the water.
It's magic, absolutely magic. And this is things that have been hidden, if you like. They don't it's all been hidden, and it's like more and more people are having an awareness. There's much more going on to do with the plants, the flowers, the sounds. It's really an important time. And going back to the hum, when we were on Glastonbury tour, I mean, we were all in our coats. I tell you, today I've actually got short sleeves on because the sun is shining. Hallelujah, praise ye the Lord. But it was cold, and but thankfully it wasn't raining. But after we finished the humming, and then the clouds were clearing, and we could see the sunset, which is a very rare occurrence these days.
Yes.
So and I used to do workshops, and I would take people through the bumblebee toning and get everybody but to actually cover their ears and hear their sounds, because you can play with your tongue and make different sounds and send it throughout your body as your own inner toning, so you're tuning your own vibrations. Very important.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. And with the color, I mean, we have so many things coming up with sounds, with the images we have taken. There is something I can't disclose that yet, but we have found how we connect the sound to those images, and how we can harvest, let's say, some form of melody emerging in each of the water sources which we have been recording. That's going to be amazing. That's going to be so important. And that's something which we also can use for healing, healing the planet and healing us, of course, as well. So because we're all one. And now that's something which we're working on, and it will be hopefully something which we can show within the next 2 or 3 months. So watch that spot.
Look forward to that. And going on to tomorrow night, you're at the town hall. So I know Vivian's arranged for you to talk about the secret language of water. So this is sort of a follow on from your talk, your previous talk that we all went to. So you're going to be there, from doors open at 6:30? What is it? Start at 7, is it?
That's right. Yeah. So 6:30, and then at 7, it should be all good to go. So some people, we always wait maybe a few more minutes until everybody's seated. We're gonna have actually a hum beforehand. So when we start, and then we have a hum after as well. So just also to see the difference. So one is going to be without the aquan, and the next one is going to be with the aquan. So just to see what the difference is, but also to clear the energy first, to get us into the vibration of the hum, and then continue that while we're having the talk, and then we give that vibration, and people can go home and have that resonating with them.
Fantastic.
Yes, so it's going to be quite interesting. We're going to show a lot of images, a lot of little videos. It's all being prepared, and I just seen the time, and I'm very sorry. I have another talk coming up.
No, that's absolutely fine. I know you were double booked, apparently, Carol told me. So, no, it's been an absolute delight, and for your sharing about Mexico. So I know I've seen a lot of the information already, but for people that haven't, so is tomorrow night's talk going to be recorded for people to,
Yes.
And hopefully your hums will come through this time, eh?
Yes, exactly. That was a little bit a disaster with the first one, but yeah. So the last one actually in the Benedict Church we did record, and I'm just getting it ready to be. We are a little bit behind because of the Mexico trip and everything. There's so much information which we're still going through, and of course we had also Pam Gregory, which kind of promoted Aquan, so we had to take care of that side as well because we got completely sold out of all the Aquan products, and we're just catching up again. So we just opened the doors for people to order again, but please be aware it might take a few days before you receive it because we're still producing more stock to cope with the demand. So I'm very sorry for the delay.
No, don't be sorry, because just shows what a wonderful job you're doing.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Okay, yeah, that was.
Thank you so much for your sharing, and it's been an absolute delight to have you back on the show, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always such a pleasure to talk to you both. Thank you, Jeff, as well for your work and putting it all together, the images and everything. Thanks for that. And I see you some point soon anyway. I see you in town probably tomorrow, Adriana.
No, I'm going to Maidenhead. I'm going up my son's. Yes, so I won't be, but I should be humming along going along the roads.
Yes. Have a lovely trip, and I'll see you soon.
And I'll see you when I see you. Yes. And thank you everybody for listening. Same time, same place next week. Thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey.